He had separated for a little bit because he was out there being wild and he had a girlfriend and everything. You know, he's always been in and out of incarceration. And I remember he had gone to jail at that time. And I had left my son at our house. And when I went there to pick my son up to go see him, there was a girl there. And the girl was holding my child. And I took my child out of her hand because I was like, who is this? You're not no stepmother around here. And I took my child and went to go see him because I was planning to go to Jamaica. And then I came back. When I came back, she was on the phone talking to the same girl. I guess the girl was letting her know what took place earlier on in the day. And I heard her saying to the girl, yes, them into this Jerry Springer thing. Them watch too much Jerry Springer. And going on. And I remember confronting her about it. And she took off a bottle of stress tabs that I had on her fridge top and sailed it after me. And my children's father had a friend named Jermaine who was staying with my mother-in-law at the time. And he was laughing and everything. And I was so upset, but it was late in the night, so I couldn't get up and go home. It was too late. So I waited till the morning, and I took my son and I went home. Leighton was a guy that I met when I went to Jamaica after I brought my son to go see him in jail. And I said, you know what, he's in Canada, he has his girlfriend, whatever. I'm moving on with my life. And I met this guy, and this guy was very nice and treated me well. And I decided that I was going to come back to Canada and we were going to work out, you know, start off new, start a new relationship. 19, I would work, and I had her watching my child at the time. I would go to school. I was doing an administrative assistance program during the day, and in the evening I would go to work doing a telemarketing work. So I would let my son stay with her and his father for during the week, and on the weekends, Friday, I would take him and bring him back on Monday. And it ended up that something happened there at her place and she lost her housing. You know, she was evicted out. And I said that, you know what, you could come and stay by me. You could come and, because you're watching my son anyways, and where would I bring him? I still have to go to school and go to work. So my baby father started living with me. We weren't that on and off anymore, even though he was out there doing whatever he was doing, being with a million women. I was young and gullible and was looking for love and, you know, welcomed them just like that. Didn't have anyone, didn't have any relationship with anyone, wasn't in any relationship. My baby father came back into my life and I forgot about this guy. He was there, his brother, you know, who is now older and out of the hands of Children's Aid Society, was there, and it was 3 of them, myself and my son, in a 1-bedroom apartment. They would stay in the living room, and my baby father and I had the room, and that's how it was for a little bit. But then more and more things were happening. Once she went over to his sister by his father's side to go, and, you know, she was telling them everything that was going on in the house that she shared with myself and her son. And she was telling them how I was working and I was still on social assistance. And, you know, I remember the mother of the sister called me once and said they're going to raid the telemarketing place that I was working at because my mother-in-law told her that I'm working and I'm still on social assistance. The mother goes to me, "Wasn't your worker there today?" And I was shocked because I told my mother-in-law not to come in the apartment that day because my worker was going to come to see me, my social services worker. And in the middle of the appointment, because they visited you at home during that time, my mother-in-law came, opened the door, she had a key, and she just came in. And I was like appalled because I'm like, is this lady, does she have any sense at all? Why would she come to the house when I told her not to? And this is a part of what is feeding her, because I was the one who did grocery. I was responsible for everything. You know what I mean? Her son was still doing his thing, just out there. Whenever he feels like coming home, he'll come home, and then he's out there for however long, doing all kind of, you know what, bad and promiscuity, or whatever you want to call it, and just living a carefree life. And for her to try and jeopardize that, I couldn't understand. So anyways, we decided we were going to move, right? And when she did that, her son was upset because, you know, he was like, why would you do that? Anyways, why would you do that? I gave him all the information, what his sister and her mother called me and said to me, and he was speaking to her about that, like, why would you do that? Why are you going over there sitting down and talking about everything? And, you know, they told her lies that I said something that her grandson, which is his nephew, the one that his mom passed after having him, said that I said that he did something to someone, you know, that he basically, you know, sexually assaulted someone. Yeah. His sister's mom, she said that his sister's mom told her that. So they're from, it's like my mother-in-law and her matey, is like they're from a genre, or they're the type of woman that they live for the mix-up, and, you know, that's why they both had children for the same man, you know. So I started to find out that they were that type. So I had started to distance myself from it. So we decided we were moving to somewhere else. And when we moved, she wasn't there. She didn't move with us because she was outed, and she didn't move with us. When we moved now, it was him and I and his nephew. I couldn't find a tape from my firstborn's christening that she was on. I was losing things. I couldn't find a picture of my baby father that I had on my dresser at one point. Every time I would just be missing things, and not knowing where they are. Never got them back. And I didn't misplace them. I always knew where my things were. She would just be taking things, just like she took my keys. And shortly after, I got pregnant with my second child. I got pregnant with my second child now, and she appeared there. I remember we would take the living room to sleep, and we were there once, and I just heard the door knock, and he got up and go check, and it was his mom with clothes on hangers with, like, you know, the plastic you put over the clothes, and that was her moving in. And I looked at him because I was shocked. I looked at him and I was like, what's going on? And he basically came beside me and said, leave her, just let her stay. Because apparently she had gone to one of her friends' home, and she was causing problems there too. She was getting involved in their life and their issues and their problems. And the friend kicked her out, told her she had to leave. I didn't know anything about that till later on. And while she lived there with me, I went through hell. Because my children's father started acting out. His mom was there now, so he was there less. I was pregnant, like I said, and we were just constantly in war, fight, war. He would get up, we got a car, he would get up, shower, get dressed, and he's gone down to his friends, driving all over the place. And I would be home, pregnant, and with my firstborn. And she would just be there sitting around the table like when I met her, writing everything that was going on. I remember once I went to the garbage chute outside. It was a building we lived in after she came from outside. She would write things down, and I don't know why she was always writing. She was always writing. I don't know what she was writing, like she was writing a book. And like I said, when I went out once to go throw something in the garbage, I saw some bits and you know, like a paper, you know, that the paper that you write on, the school paper, the white line paper, all ripped up, minced up into minces. And I said to myself, what is this? And I started looking, and I was putting them together. And when I put them together, I started to read, Nikki did this to Raheem. Nikki is just like this, and Nikki did. She was writing down what was going on in the house with me and my son, or whatever she felt like writing down. Why she ripped it all up and was throwing, I always wondered why she would always be writing and then she would mince up the paper and then throw it away. Still doing the telemarketing work when I was pregnant with my second child. Because I was very sick in the beginning of the pregnancy, but I started to feel better later down, and I went back to work. And my baby father told me that Leighton called. I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyways, I have a cousin named Lenny, and I think my cousin called, but I had already told my baby father that when him and I weren't together, and when I went to Jamaica, I met this guy and whatever. But coincidentally, I'm at work, but this guy named Leighton, that was his name, his mother told him Leighton called. So I was saying to him, it can't be Leighton that called, because that guy does not have my number. You know, that was like over a year ago. I moved from where I was living before. He didn't have any number for me, and he wouldn't know this number, and my family wouldn't give him my number anyways. But like I said, everything he tells his mother, he tells his mother everything. So she used the perfect opportunity to tell him that Leighton called. And that was the time when I was pregnant, and around the time when he was treating me terrible as well. Another time, because anything he hears from his mother, which is always negative about me, he sides with his mother, and it's brought a lot of problem in the relationship. He had assaulted me really badly because I found out he was cheating. That's the time he had a girl out there pregnant. The child was born after I had my second born. I went to the police and I got housing from it. And I was supposed to go to court. I didn't go. I didn't let the police know that I moved, and that's what happened with that. He was arrested for something else, and when he was arrested, the police beat him up, right? And all of his shirt was bloody. And I would later find out from his nephew's baby mother, because his nephew since had like 3 or so baby mothers, but the first baby mother, I would find out from her that my mother-in-law had that shirt, that bloody shirt, on a hanger in her closet, and she was showing everyone that came there that I made the police do that to him. I started to realize that she had a vengeance for me, and I was distancing myself more and more from her. When I lived in the housing, I realized she was on the phone before I lived in the housing, you know, after he beat me up and he was arrested for something else out there, she was on the phone with his friend's baby mother and letting her know the same thing, that, you know, I did that, whatever. And I remember going on my phone. She was using my phone, talking. I remember going on my phone and telling her, get off of my phone. You're in my house and you're there talking about me in my house. Mind you, she was in the living room living, and I was in my 1-bedroom. But she was still talking about me and against me in my own home. And like an idiot, I still moved to the housing and let her move with me. I say to myself, I believe I was in a coma. I feel to have allowed all this to take place, him to go out there and do all that he's done and still be in a relationship with him, her still living with me. When we moved to the housing now, it was a 2-bedroom. She was still doing the same thing. You know, I had my cousin come and stay with me for a little bit. And I warned my cousin, don't sit down and talk to this lady about anything, because she's not who you think she is, right? And she was sitting there telling my cousin how his father won lottery and how his wife took all the money and he didn't get any. And my baby father called once, because like I said, he was always in and out of prison. He called once to let me know that his mother, again, told him that my cousin told her that the same way how his father won the lottery money and the wife took it, that's the same thing I did to him. I took his money. That's what his mother told him, that my cousin said. And when my cousin was no longer staying with me anymore, she only visited me and was, you know, staying with me for a little bit. When I called my cousin with him on the phone and said that, I said to my cousin, remember I told you not to sit down and talk to this lady about anything? And I told my cousin what happened. We were on 3-way with him. And my cousin was like, what? Nikki, no. She was out there telling me how his father win lottery money and all the father wife did. Nikki, I never said you said anything about anything. And I called the mother, because she's living there. She's right in the house with me when all of this is going on. And I said it to her, and she was there, this passive-aggressive lady, acting all innocent. And she came on the phone, and my cousin said, so-and-so, I told you that? And she said, yes, you told me that. And my cousin swear up and down that if she ever see her, she's gonna deal with her. My cousin swore up and down if she ever see that lady, what she's gonna do to her. And she started getting upset and saying, hey, I don't want nobody touch me, you know, because them love knife, them love stab up people. Reason why she said that is because 2 of my aunt-in-laws were feuding, fighting, and a knife was involved when I was pregnant with my firstborn. And because I was so close to her and I was going back and forth and staying with her, I let her know what happened. Yeah. A party that took place and they got into it. And all of that knife and cutting and stabbing was involved. And she used that to say she don't want anyone to hurt her after she told a big lie on my cousin. So all of that was just going on. I went through 4 years of her, anything that happened in the house. I found out my children's father was cheating. We had 2 children now. I find out he's cheating. So I took down everything out my closet and, you know, wanted him out. And when he came home the day, I put them back up. I put them back up so he didn't come and see his clothes all over. And when he came home the day, my sister and I went somewhere. When I came home, I saw my clothes all over on the ground. And she had told him what happened. And that's why my clothes was out there. because I could just imagine how she was telling him what happened, how his clothes was. So my clothes was just out of my drawers, out of closet, everything. And I knew that it was her, because I had said, you know what, that's not right, let me put his clothes back up. I found out he was cheating, and this time I said, that's it. And I cut his clothes up, threw it outside, broke up his CDs, burned his shoe, everything outside my house, and just left it. She came, she saw it, went to the payphone, called him, and you know, she bagged up his clothes and brought it to wherever he was staying and showed him, because he wasn't home. He was out there just doing, I keep telling him, you already go out there, you have a child. If you don't want me, just go and leave me alone. You know, I'm not begging you to stay here. Like, you don't have to be here. And when I found out he was still out there with a girl or whatever, I said, that's it, man. So for a period of time, that's how that happened. I was just home with me and my 2 children. A little later than that, he was out there and got into a big Canada-wide, worldwide manhunt looking for him. Him and his friends did something major, and he was being sought. I had found out. I spoke to him once he called, because he heard that my life was threatened as well, and he called me, and I said, you know, just turn yourself in, whatever, it's okay, your kids are here. You know, they're not going anywhere. You know, just don't, you know, give up your life like that. Don't let no one take your life. Whatever. Just turn yourself in. And he turned himself in, and now he wanted me to be there with him during this time. He doesn't trust anybody else. I said, listen, you were out there going on, doing all your things all over the place and whatever, like, I'm not no side piece. I'm not no secondary person. You know, I'm okay. And he promised me that nothing like that can happen. Nobody else can come to see him. You know, whatever. He just wants me and to see his children, because we had 2 boys at that time. So that's how, you know, after all of that transpired, I got back with him. I moved from there now, went to a whole nother city. I didn't want nothing to do with her. She still found out where I lived. Didn't tell her where I was moving. She still found out. She came there. I just saw once his friends came there to see me, because I would see them in the neighborhood. And then she was knocking at my door next time. And I had let it pass like I normally do. Every time something happens, after a while and I calmed down, it would go right back to normal. She kept coming back and forth, staying there and coming to see. I said, you know what, her grandchildren are here. And I had 2 rooms down, so she was in the room staying with her grandchildren, whatever. Once, and this is something I think I've come to regret ever letting this lady do. I remember once, before I started getting real sick and before I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, she had got up and made tea. And I came out the room and she said, Nikki, I made you a cup of tea. And I drank that tea. And shortly after that, I don't remember how long it took, if it was the same day, if it was days after what, I started feeling sick. I just started going in and out. You know, my head felt like it was just going sinking. I was laying on my back in my bed and I just felt like my head was just going whoo. I just felt like a weight was just going down and knocking me out, and it just felt like something was just punching me in my head, punching me all the way down into the pillow. And I started to get scared. I didn't understand what was going on. I would be standing up washing dishes and I would just start to have my heart racing real fast. And I would be going to the doctor so often about this feeling, that feeling, that feeling. And the doctor would be doing all sorts of tests and nothing would come out of it. I didn't know what was going on. I was visiting him, and when he had a trailer, you get conjugal visit, whatever. My first trailer to take in my children there, I got pregnant. Because even though I brought contraceptive and I knew I didn't want to get pregnant, I wasn't on the pill. I wanted to start the pill because I had taken out the IUD, because after I had my first, then I had my second, I was on the IUD, and they were like, I would say 6 and 3 or something like that. And the time for the IUD was up and I took it out, but I was supposed to go see my doctor shortly after, you know, but the date was set for after the conjugal visit. So when I went there, ended up getting pregnant, came back, tried to take, I stayed there for 3 days, so I thought the morning after pill would work, and I went to the clinic, got them to give me, but I took it right away, and the next morning I went to work because I was still a working person. I still always worked. When I went to work, I threw up and I left work and got home. That's how I got pregnant. So started visiting him like that once every 6 weeks or whatever. We'd go see him. You know, he was now spending a lengthy time in jail. About he was sentenced 10 years for what he did out there, him and his friends. And you know, I was there with him and taking my children to go see him. We'd drive. I started driving, got my license, got my own vehicle, and I would be driving up there. So it was after that, a little bit after that, is when she came back. She found out where I lived. That's when she found out where I live, and she appeared at my door, and the tea and everything. And then I started getting sick. And went to the doctor time and time again, called the ambulance on different occasions saying that feel like I'm dying, all sorts of stuff. And they said, my doctor sent me to see a psychiatrist and said that I was battling anxiety. I was going through anxiety and depression, whatever. Gave me medication. Started taking the medication. My grandmother passed. I had to go to Jamaica. I asked my mother-in-law to watch the children for me, the 2 boys, because my daughter was born. Like I said, when I got pregnant, I had a girl, and she was like under 2 years old, so I was able to take her to Jamaica for free, so I didn't have to pay for her. Went to see my grandmother's funeral, came back, met this new girl now in his nephew's life. She was even pregnant. So I remember I didn't want to stay home when I started to feel the feeling of my head sinking down in the bed, and you know, she was there, like nothing, just there. And she suggested to take the children with her to her house and basically leave me there by myself. And I didn't think of it as anything then, but now when I think of it, she thought that I was gonna die there by myself after all of that. But I said, you know what? I'll come with you guys. I'll come with you guys. I don't really want to be here by myself. And I drove her and my children and went there. And when I went there, she made soup. She made soup, but the soup was like a banana soup, because all the bananas were crushed up. So crushed up. Crushed up into the soup. I was drinking the soup and it's like I was drinking banana stew or something. And I didn't understand why. And the second baby mother for my nephew saw me on the couch, on her couch, like sick, which she used later on to curse me, saying that I should go pop some pills. And if I don't remember when she came and saw me on the couch, laid out, popping pills. She was one of them who would always come back to me and let me know what my mother-in-law was saying she was going to do to me.